Have you ever watched someone you cherish slowly change before your eyes? Not in one sudden moment, but in countless small ways that were almost invisible at first. A little more sleep, a little less laughter, until one day, you realize the person you've always known is beginning to quietly drift away. For many, the final chapter of life doesn't arrive like a bolt of lightning. Instead, it comes softly, through subtle shifts in energy, appetite, mood, or breath. These changes often masquerade as normal signs of aging, so gentle that they're easy to overlook. But in truth, they can be the early whispers of a deeper transformation, a quiet preparation the body makes in its final year. Perhaps you've seen it, a once vibrant father spending more time in his armchair, his usual spark dimming, or a grandmother who no longer finishes her favorite meals. You tell yourself it's just old age, but something in your heart wonders if it's more, and often, it is. This video isn't about fear. It's about awareness, about recognizing those soft signals so you can show up with love, understanding, and intention. It's about preparing, not in despair, but in tenderness, so you can help craft a final season filled with peace, connection, and dignity. Over the next few minutes, we'll explore 5 signs that commonly appear in the last year of an elderly person's life. Some might seem familiar, changes you've noticed but didn't know how to interpret. Others may catch you off guard, but all of them carry meaning, pointing to a body that's beginning to slow, to let go. By learning what to look for, you gain a quiet kind of power, not to stop time, but to make the time you have left truly count. You can offer presence when words fade, comfort when healing no longer comes easily, and love in its most lasting forms, simply being there. So, stay with me until the end. These signs might not only help you understand what's happening, but also guide you in how to respond, with grace, with patience, and with the kind of compassion that turns goodbye into something sacred. Because this isn't just about recognizing the end. It's about embracing the chance to make that ending beautiful. First, extreme fatigue and weakness. Imagine the person you've always known as strong and steady. The one who once built the bookshelf in your room or carried bags of groceries with ease. Now, they struggle just to stand from a chair, their steps slower, their movements careful, as if every task demands more than they can give. This isn't just aging, it's a deeper kind of exhaustion, one that sleep won't fix, one that settles into their bones like fog that never lifts. When a loved one begins to spend most of their day resting, not out of choice but necessity, it can be a quiet but powerful sign that their body is preparing to slow down for good. Fatigue in the final year of life feels different. It's not about feeling tired after a long walk or a busy afternoon. It's about energy becoming scarce, doled out in small, precious amounts. A shower might leave them winded. A short conversation could require a nap afterward. Even eating a meal may feel like too much. You may notice they fall asleep in the middle of the day. Even mid-conversation, their body isn't being lazy. It's reallocating its dwindling energy towards simply staying alive. Organs begin to operate at a slower pace. The heart pumps more gently, the lungs take in less oxygen, and every motion becomes more taxing. Tasks that once brought joy now seem too heavy to attempt. Take James, a retired postman who once loved his morning walks. His daughter Emma noticed a change last fall. James, who used to rise at 6 a.m. without fail, now slept until noon. He stopped watering the plants. Reading the newspaper left him nodding off. At first, she thought he was just slowing down with age. But when even getting dressed became exhausting, she realized something deeper was happening. This shift is more than physical. It's emotional, too. For someone like James, losing independence can be frustrating. He may feel useless, ashamed, or defeated. That's why pushing him, "Come on, just try to walk a little," can feel more like pressure than encouragement. The most compassionate thing you can do in this phase isn't to fix it, but to adapt to it. Sit with them. Be present without demanding conversation or activity. Offer quiet companionship, and let them rest without guilt. A warm blanket, a gentle hand on theirs, or soft background music can become anchors of comfort in a world that now feels overwhelming. When fatigue takes over, it's the body's way of whispering, "I'm almost done." And as painful as that truth is, recognizing it allows you to meet them with love, not urgency, to stop pushing and instead start holding space, silence, and the moments that still remain. Second, frequent infections and slow healing. Think about someone in your life who was always resilient. The grandparent who bounced back from a cold like it was nothing, who brushed off scrapes and cuts with a shrug and a smile. But now, something's different. A small wound lingers. A cough doesn't go away, and slowly, you begin to notice healing takes longer and illness comes more often. This isn't just part of getting older. It's a sign that the body's internal defenses are growing wary. When the immune system, the body's frontline protection, starts to slow, it no longer responds with the same strength or speed. Infections that once passed quickly now linger. Minor injuries take weeks, even months, to heal. These changes may seem small at first, but they speak volumes about what's happening beneath the surface. Take Alice, an 86-year-old who loved tending her rose garden. One spring, she nicked her finger on a thorn. It seemed harmless. A band-aid and a little ointment would normally do the trick. But this time, the cut stayed red, swollen, and tender for weeks. Not long after, a seasonal cold turned into bronchitis. Her daughter tried everything: vitamin supplements, antibiotics, even herbal teas. But Alice just couldn't seem to bounce back like before. Why does this happen? As the body enters its final season, blood circulation slows, meaning less oxygen and fewer white blood cells reach the places where they're needed most. The immune response becomes weaker, slower, less precise. What was once a well-coordinated defense now moves like a tired army, struggling to respond. Sometimes the signs are subtle. A low-grade fever that never spikes, a quiet withdrawal from food or conversation. Other times, they're more alarming: a lingering UTI, chronic congestion, or repeated trips to the doctor that no longer yield quick results. And in some cases, infections aren't just frequent. They become harder to treat, as the body can't tolerate strong medications or doesn't respond as expected. This phase can be hard on families. You want to help. You want to fix it. You might find yourself rushing to urgent care or staying up all night checking temperatures. But over time, it becomes clear. The goal isn't always to cure, it's to comfort. The shift is subtle but profound. Healing may no longer mean full recovery. It may mean easing discomfort, managing symptoms, and protecting quality of life as best you can. For someone like Alice, care looked like warm compresses, soft blankets, and gentle check-ins. Her daughter learned to focus not just on fighting illness, but on creating peace-light meals, quiet evenings, soft words spoken while holding her hand. If you see these signs in someone you love, frequent sickness, slow healing, or infections that just won't go away, don't ignore them. They may be the body's way of asking for rest, not rescue. And in that space, your quiet presence may become the most powerful medicine of all. Third, major changes in breathing or circulation. Picture this. You are sitting beside your mother on a quiet afternoon. The room is still, the sunlight slanting gently across her face. At first, everything feels calm. But then you notice, her chest isn't rising as steadily as before. Her breath is shallow, almost hesitant. Her fingers, once warm and busy in the kitchen, are now cool to the touch, faintly pale. Something in you shifts. You know this is more than just a chill in the air. As the body nears its final stretch, circulation and respiration begin to change in deeply symbolic ways. These aren't sudden emergencies. They're quiet signs. The body slowly letting go, prioritizing only its most essential functions. Blood begins to recede from the extremities. preserving warmth for the heart and brain. The hands and feet grow cooler, sometimes bluish or mottled. Skin may appear thinner, paler, or fragile. Breathing shifts too, often in patterns that feel unfamiliar and unsettling. You might notice long pauses between breaths, or rapid, shallow inhales followed by stillness. This can happen during rest, especially at night. One common pattern, known as Cheyne-Stokes respiration, alternates deep breaths with periods of silence that feel like forever. It can be startling to witness, but it's part of the body's natural winding down. For someone like Helen, a 79-year-old retired schoolteacher, these changes came gradually. Her son Matthew remembered how she used to hum softly while folding laundry, her breath rhythmic and light. But over the winter, her breathing became labored. Especially when lying flat, she'd prop herself up with pillows and speak in shorter sentences, pausing often to catch her breath. Then came the chill. Even with thick socks and blankets, her feet felt icy. Her hands, once quick to jot down crossword answers, now lay still and pale in her lap. "I just can't warm up today," she whispered one morning. Matthew sat beside her, rubbing her hands gently, understanding for the first time that her body was conserving its strength for the journey ahead. These signs, cool limbs, labored breath, coughing from fluid buildup, aren't just physical. They carry emotional weight. Watching someone you love gasp for air or struggle to stay warm can be heart-wrenching. You might want to fix it, wrap them in warmth, encourage deep breaths. But the most compassionate response is often simpler: stay close, be calm, listen. In these moments, comfort matters more than correction. Keep the room peaceful, offer sips of water, adjust pillows so breathing is easier, use a soft blanket, not just to warm but to soothe. If oxygen is prescribed, learn how to use it gently and without fear. If you notice changes in breath or circulation in someone dear, don't panic. These shifts are part of the body's last expression, a quiet letting go, and in that stillness, your presence becomes the balm. Not to stop what's coming, but to honor it with love. Fourth, cognitive confusion or emotional withdrawal. Think of someone in your life who used to light up every room they entered. Always quick with a story, a joke, a memory that brought everyone together. Now imagine sitting with them, only to find them staring blankly out the window, struggling to follow a conversation, or asking the same question again and again. It's subtle at first, almost easy to explain away. But soon, the clarity you once took for granted begins to dim. As a person nears the final stage of life, cognitive changes often emerge, not as dramatic moments, but as slow, quiet retreats. You may notice forgetfulness deepening into confusion. Conversations that once flowed effortlessly become fragmented. Time, place, and even familiar faces start to blur. They might call you by someone else's name or seem unsure of what day it is, even when reminded just moments before. These shifts aren't just senior moments. They're signals that the brain, like the rest of the body, is beginning to let go. The brain needs a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients to function well, and as circulation slows, so does mental clarity. Neurons fire less efficiently, and connections that once held memories and awareness begin to fade. But the changes go beyond memory. You may notice a loved one pulling back emotionally. Someone who once loved family gatherings may now sit quietly in the corner, overwhelmed by the noise. They might stop asking questions or lose interest in their favorite pastimes. It's not because they don't care. It's because the mental effort of participating has become too great. Take Thomas, a retired jazz pianist known for his sharp wit and gentle humor. His granddaughter Ava noticed the change one evening. Thomas, who once improvised melodies without missing a beat, sat silently at the dinner table, his eyes unfocused. He didn't respond to her stories like he used to. Later, he asked if it was Sunday, twice, despite having just looked at the calendar. Ava tried to keep him engaged. "Play something for me, Grandpa," she urged, placing his hands on the keys. But Thomas just stared at the piano, unsure where to begin. That night, he sat in his armchair, quiet, withdrawn, not asleep, just elsewhere. This kind of withdrawal can be heartbreaking. It feels like losing someone in pieces. But it's important to remember, they're not choosing to drift. Their mind is protecting itself from overstimulation, conserving energy, retreating into a place that feels safer. In these moments, what matters most isn't pulling them back, it's meeting them where they are. Speak gently. Sit in silence if needed. Offer a familiar scent, a favorite song, or simply your presence. Even if they don't respond with words, your love reaches deeper than language. When you see confusion or withdrawal in someone you love, know it's a form of preparation. Their journey inward doesn't mean they're gone. It means they need you differently now, not as a fixer, but as a calm, steady companion beside them in the quiet. Fifth, significant weight loss. You notice it slowly. Her favorite cardigan, once snug and cozy, now hangs loose around her shoulders. The sleeves seem too long, the fabric pooling where it used to stretch. At dinner, she pushes food around on her plate, appetite flickering like a light about to go out. You tell yourself it's just age. She's just not as hungry anymore. But deep down, something doesn't feel right. Unexplained, significant weight loss is one of the most telling signs that the body may be entering its final chapter. It doesn't arrive suddenly or with fanfare. It creeps in, quiet, gradual, almost invisible. A few pounds lost here, a belt notch tightened there. By the time it becomes noticeable, the change has often been in motion for months. Why does this happen? As the body slows, so does the digestive system. The ability to process and absorb nutrients fades. Muscles begin to waste, not from lack of use, but from internal systems that no longer function as they once did. Appetite diminishes, and food no longer brings comfort or pleasure. Even the sense of taste can dull, making meals feel more like obligation than joy. Take Lillian, an 83-year-old who used to make the best blueberry pancakes every Sunday. Her granddaughter Zoe began to worry when Lillian started skipping breakfast. Just coffee, she'd say, or a few bites of toast. Soon, Zoe noticed her grandmother's clothes no longer fit right. Her once round cheeks had grown hollow. The pantry was still stocked, but Lillian barely touched anything. Zoe tried everything: favorite meals, smoothies, small, frequent snacks, but nothing seemed to stick. The truth was, Lillian's body was changing in ways that no amount of food could fix. Her system wasn't just slowing, it was preparing. Weight loss at this stage isn't about dieting or poor choices. It's the body's way of conserving, of letting go. When energy isn't needed to grow or repair, the body naturally begins to reduce itself. Fat stores are used up, then muscle, then strength. And it all happens with a kind of quiet dignity, if we allow it. For families, this can feel like a call to action. More food, more calories, more effort. But when the body stops asking, we must learn to listen. Pushing can lead to frustration, even discomfort. Instead, offer what soothes: a warm broth, a spoonful of pudding, a cool slice of melon, not to reverse the decline, but to ease the path. If you see this in someone you love, weight slipping away, meals going untouched, bones beginning to show, it's not just about nourishment. It's a message. Their body is speaking in the language of farewell, and your job now isn't to fight it, but to hold them close. To offer care instead of control. To make each moment around the table one of peace, not pressure. Now that we've walked through these signs together, fatigue that clings like fog, illnesses that won't let go, breaths that falter, minds that retreat, and weight that slowly slips away, pause for a moment. Let it settle in your heart. Maybe one of these patterns feels familiar. Maybe you're already seeing them in someone you love. If so, you're not alone. What we've explored isn't just a checklist of decline. It's a language, a quiet, sacred way the body speaks as it prepares to step away. These signs don't always appear all at once. Some emerge early, others unfold over time. But when you begin to recognize them, a door opens. Not into despair, but into awareness. And awareness is a gift. Because when you understand what's happening, you can stop reacting out of fear and start responding with love. You begin to shift your role from fixer to presence, from doing to simply being. You stop asking, "How do I stop this?" and instead ask, "How can I make this easier for them?" More peaceful, more beautiful. That's what this season is really about. Not the ending, but the way we move through it. For Emma, who watched her father nap longer each day. For Michael, who changed dressings and whispered encouragement to his grandfather. For Sarah, who held her aunt's hand in silence as memory faded. Each of them found a new rhythm. One not based on urgency, but on tenderness. This final year, when recognized for what it is, can be a season of connection, of forgiveness, if needed, of storytelling, of gentle laughter, of closing the circle with grace. It's a time to ask the questions you've been too busy to ask, to say the things that matter while there's still time. Let's be clear, this path isn't easy. Watching someone fade is one of life's greatest heartbreaks. There will be moments of doubt, helplessness, and sorrow. But there will also be moments of clarity, of deep peace, of love so quiet and steady it becomes unforgettable. You may not be able to stop what's coming, but you can shape how it unfolds. You can choose calm over panic, connection over control, meaning over measurement. You can turn small moments, a soft meal shared, a song hummed, a look exchanged, into acts of devotion. So if you see the signs, don't look away. Lean in, sit a little closer, ask less, listen more, hold their hand, and let them know they're not going through this alone. And when the time comes, you'll know in your heart, you didn't just witness their final chapter, you helped write it with grace. That's not the end. That's love, lasting far beyond the last breath.